Welcome to Radio Entrepreneurs. I'm Steve Shear, sitting in for Jeffrey Davis, and this evening we have one of our reporters. Peter Myerson is the Outside General Counsel Reporter, and he has an interesting story to tell us. Hello, Peter.
Hi, Steve. How are you?
Fine, and how are you this evening?
I am terrific. You're a good fill-in for Jeff. Normally I'm talking about fiduciary relationships. Right. I'm talking about, how people go engage a lawyer, for a new business that they start. I think, this is, the show is about entrepreneurship. I mean, this is a show for and about entrepreneurship.
Right. Yep.
And I read an interesting article about what is entrepreneurship. But I want to tie it into a book I read, which I think is one of the best books I've read in a long time. But so, this article on entrepreneurship came out of the Business News Daily. So, and I'm going to quote some of it. It's entrepreneurship is the development of a business from the ground up, coming up with an idea and turning it into a profitable business. And so the question really is, what does that mean? And what does it mean in the context of being an individual who, wants to start a business? And, so there were a bunch of items in the article that kind of were interesting. It says, an entrepreneur is anyone who can take any idea, whether it be a product or a service, and have the skill set, will, and courage to take extreme risk, to do whatever needs to be done to turn that concept into a reality, and bring it to market. And then they give a whole bunch of tests, which is the ability to plan, which is kind of self-explanatory, communication skills, marketing skills, interpersonal skills, basic management skills, leadership skills, and how you learn from others. Make sure this is really what you want, how to solve problems, be passionate, get advice from those who have done it. So, I was sitting and I was reading a book, and this is kind of a segue into one of the best books I've read in a long, long time. And it's a book by Gilbert King, and it's called Devil in the Grove, and it's really the story of Thurgood Marshall, and it could probably be better titled, Thurgood Marshall, in mid-century United States. And it's a book which I've told any number of people, I think including you, about. Did you enjoy it?
I enjoyed it. I mean, it was a fascinating time. And the thing that I mentioned to you is I can't believe these activities took place only 50 years ago. It's not like 200 years ago.
Yeah, well, I mean, the activities that Steve is talking about is, the fact that in the late 40s, 1940s, right after World War II, this woman, young 17-year-old woman in Central Florida, in the middle of the citrus groves, told people she had been raped.
Right.
And so, what it really does is it's about these four black kids, two of whom were former soldiers. Right. And those two were apparently very bright, and they wore their uniforms around, and, they were thought of as uppity black people. I'm not going to use the pejorative terms that were used in the book. But, so this woman complains of this rape, and there's this whole issue, which underlies the entire story. I was going to call it a novel, and it reads like a novel. It's like a thriller. You really don't know what's going to happen until the very end. So for those of you who don't like nonfiction, this might be a way to segue into nonfiction, But so what this story really does, and I think the reason for the name of the book, it's called Devil in the Grove. It's all about the conflux of, this virulent prejudice in the citrus industry.